Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into what might be the foldable fight of the year. We're putting two of 2025's absolute hottest flip phones, the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7 and the Motorola Razr Ultra, smack down head-to-head to see which one really deserves to be in your pocket. So, in one corner, you've got the refined powerhouse from Samsung, the company that basically wrote the book on this whole category. And in the other corner, you have the souped-up challenger from Motorola, a brand with that iconic flip phone history, and they are back with some seriously impressive hardware. So here's how we're going to break it down. We've got 5 rounds. First, design and display. Then we'll have a camera shootout, followed by a deep dive into performance. After that, we'll look at the software and day-to-day experience, and finally, we'll make the big decision. Okay, let's kick things off with round 1, design and display. This is all about first impressions, what you see, and more importantly, how these phones actually feel in your hand. You know, the materials here really tell a story. Samsung's playing it safe, but smart, with this proven aluminum frame and a hinge that just feels rock solid, no matter what angle you open it to. Motorola, though, they went for this exotic titanium reinforced hinge, which sounds cool, but honestly, it just feels a little, well, weaker, a bit less stable when you have it propped open. But then we get to the screens, and oh man, Motorola comes out swinging. We're talking a ridiculously smooth 165 Hz refresh rate on both the inside and the outside screens. Samsung's 120 Hz is great, don't get me wrong, but that 165 Hz, it's just on another level. Everything feels incredibly fluid. And what about brightness? You know, for when you're trying to use your phone out in the sun, the Galaxy's inner screen is seriously bright, pushing over 1600 nits. And trust me, that is more than bright enough for pretty much any situation you'll find yourself in. But, and this is a really close one, the Motorola just manages to get a little bit brighter. It's a tiny difference on paper, but believe me, when that sun is just blasting down, every single nit counts. It gives the Razr just a slight edge for outdoor use. All right, on to round 2, the cameras. Now, this is typically where these smaller, compact phones have to make some compromises. And let me tell you, the differences between these two are pretty significant. So here's the bottom line. For video, it's not even a contest. Samsung absolutely dominates. The stabilization is way better, it's got a portrait video mode that the Moto just doesn't have, and its photos in low light are just worlds better. But, and it's a big but, if you're mostly snapping photos in broad daylight, Motorola's higher megapixel counts mean you get sharper ultra-wide shots and way more detailed selfies. Okay, round 3. Enough about how they look and shoot. Let's talk about what's under the hood. Which one of these has the bigger engine? We're talking raw horsepower. And wow, just look at these benchmark scores. This chart really says it all, doesn't it? Motorola's Snapdragon chip scores over 2 million, leaving Samsung's Exynos processor completely in the dust. On paper, this is a total knockout for Motorola. But hold on a second, because there is a catch. All that power? It generates a ton of heat. When we really pushed this phone to its limits in our stress tests, the Motorola got hot. So hot, in fact, that it actually crashed. It raises some real questions about whether it can maintain that peak performance for very long. So what does this mean for, stuff you actually do every day? Well, it's a mixed bag. The Moto is an absolute speed demon for creative tasks like rendering a video or exporting photos. It's way faster. But when we tried to open a massive, complicated Excel file, the Galaxy handled it in half the time. So the winner really depends on what you're doing. Raw speed is one thing, but what's it like to actually live with these phones day in and day out? That brings us to round 4, software, usability, and of course, battery life. And right here, this might be the single biggest win for Samsung in this whole comparison. 7 years of updates for both the OS and security. That is just incredible. It means this Z Flip 7 will still be getting new features long after the Motorola has been put out to pasture. That is huge for long-term value. But then we get to the cover screen. And this is where Motorola completely flips the script and gets a massive win. With the Moto, you can run pretty much any Android app you want right there on the front. No hassle. On the Samsung, you're pretty much stuck with their widgets unless you want to jump through a bunch of hoops. It's a classic case of an open playground versus a walled garden. And that speed advantage for Motorola keeps on going when it's time to charge. Get this, the Razr Ultra actually has a bigger battery, but it charges from 0 to full in just 49 minutes. The Samsung takes almost half an hour longer to fill up its smaller battery. That's a huge quality of life win. Okay, we've been through 5 intense rounds. We've seen both phones trade some serious punches, so which one should you actually buy? It's time to go to the final scorecard. And just look at this. It is incredibly close. Motorola takes the win on that beautiful display, the raw power, that super useful cover screen, and the faster charging. But Samsung wins on its rock-solid design, its better overall camera system, especially for video, and that ridiculously good long-term software support. It's a real nail-biter. So here's the real takeaway. There's no single best phone here. It all comes down to what's best for you. Think of it like this. The Galaxy Z Flip 7 is the polished, reliable all-rounder. It's for someone who wants a premium experience that's going to last for years. The Motorola Razr Ultra? That's the power user's choice. It's for people who want maximum performance and the freedom to do whatever they want with that cover screen. So ultimately, it really boils down to this one question. What do you value more in your tech? Do you want the assurance of long-term polish and support? Or do you want the thrill of having the most power and flexibility right out of the box? The answer to that question will tell you exactly which one of these amazing phones belongs to you. Thanks for watching.